Well, hey guys, so today we are talking all about using Premiere to activate your green screen. Now we have 3 green screens total in the lab here. We've got the one with the news desk, we've got the one with the without the news desk, we've got one in the closet, which is a bit of a solo act, which we'll say. The idea with the green screens is that you're not really taking anything to do with the screen itself. What you're doing is getting rid of a color. So if I were to choose any color, that was like maybe perhaps common on a person's skin, like a light or dark brown, or maybe someone's clothes, like say a white or a navy blue, then that color would then be turned into what's called an alpha channel. Alpha channels are essentially transparent; they have no color data at all. So generally speaking, when you have a green screen or a blue screen, it's usually a very vivid, very bright, very even color that wouldn't naturally appear on a person's clothing, or obviously on a person's skin, with a few exceptions. If, say, for instance, a person has dyed hair, right? Or people sometimes wear, bright green clothing, and we have a few Ace shirts that might get caught up in the green screen. But the idea is that you would wear something that wouldn't quite blend in with the background. So let's go ahead and start a new project in Premiere. We'll call it Green Screen. This will be pretty quick. So you should have two things here under your green screen folder that you downloaded from D2L or from the Google Drive folder. So I'm just going to drag these into my import file here, and they'll pop up. And so the first thing we'll do is pull in my video of me demonstrating the melodica here, right? So I just listen to this real quick. Alright, so I'm just going to see if I can't cut out this first part here where everything's out of focus. Well, I'll cut out the little part where I'm sitting down. Alright, we'll snip that off, and we'll just ripple delete there. You'll notice there's a slight change in color, from the background, just by virtue of the way that the light is kind of sensed by the camera as I come in and out of focus, but hopefully this won't be too big of a deal. Now what we need to do first is we need to take our video track here, the 0009 MTS, and just drag it up just to the second video channel, and beneath it we need to drag in our cyan triangles. Now in this case this has a audio attached to it, so I'm going to pull it over here to the side, right click on it, unlink the audio of the video, click on the audio, and just press delete on the keyboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and I'm going to actually copy it. I'm just going to right click on it and copy it, and then I'm going to go over to the side here. I'm just going to press on my keyboard Control V. And I'll ripple delete that. And I'll do that again over here. I'll just Control V, and I'll just ripple delete, right click, ripple delete. And then from here I'll just drag this into where it matches up. In fact, I think I need to cut off the little end here. So right about here, where I give my creepy smile, and I'll just pull this back, and I'll pull this back as well. And there we go. Okay, so we have that. Now we need to get rid of the green screen. So the way we get rid of the green screen is by clicking on our effects. Make sure that your green screen is activated here. Finding our video effects. Now if you can't see your effects, there's usually a little fast forward looking button here that will give you the different things. Find effects under your little area where you see your stuff here, and find video effects and look for keying. It's right here, K-E-Y-I-N-G, keying, and find Ultra Key, which is down towards the bottom here. Ultra Key. Just drag that in right there. Now nothing happens right off the bat, so we need to click on our effect controls over here with this highlighted, and we should see Ultra Key hanging out here. So we see Ultra Key right about here. Just find Ultra Key somewhere in your video effects. If it's collapsed, just click the little arrow here. And we see a couple different things here. We see composite, default, all these different things will come into play later. But first we really want to find this little eyedropper here. Click on this eyedropper and find the green, and just click anywhere on the green, and it should disappear. And now we see all of a sudden that our cyan triangles are way too small. So let's click on the cyan triangles, and we'll just bring up the scale a bit, and let's see how big it needs to be to fill up the entire screen here. About 300, so I'll just click 300 here, and I'll do the same for each one of these things. Motion, scale, 300, Okay, I hope you guys hear the after-school announcements there. That's fun. 300. So if we just play through this, we can see, instead of there being a green screen, we just see the cyan triangles instead. So with all that said, I wonder if like there's a way we could maybe get rid of some of this noise here. Let's click on our MTS file here. Let's go back to our key color here. Let's find where it says defaults, and let's change default to aggressive. See if that changes anything. There you go. It cleans up the thing a little bit more. The idea is that you've got different levels of, you know, picking up the key, the color that you want to key out. And so with default, you have a certain level, like a certain threshold that's going to take out. With relax, it's going to have a certain threshold that it takes out. And then obviously you can customize it to pick the range in which you want to come out. So all these various things we'll talk about in later days. But what's great about this is that what you can do now with this MTS is that you can even shrink it down. Say for instance you had yourself centered, but you wanted to have something off to the side. You can go over here to your motion, find your scale, and scale it down, and just position it down towards the corner here. And so now suddenly it looks as if I've framed myself at a little bit lower of a position here. So I can just like see this right here. Alright, so go ahead and find a place to put Mr. Labello. If you wanted to, for instance, right-click on this, copy this, and paste it over here, and then just maybe unlink the audio, get rid of it, delete it, and just bring it back up over here, and just sort of pull this maybe off to the side somewhere else. You could obviously duplicate Mr. Labello. You could even, for instance, take your rotation and rotate him 180 degrees. Maybe. Let's see this. All right, and then put them on the ceiling here. So now we have two Labellos here. All right, so right, let's go ahead and finish off by putting our name on there. So find on yours your little T icon here. I'm using an older version, so I'll just go to File, New, and you'll find Legacy Title if you want to do what I'm doing here. And I'll just type in Mr. Labello's green screen. And I'll change this to a darker color here. I'll just go over here, I'll select all this, and you should see a fill type solid over here. Just change it to black, just so it pulls everything. We'll select everything here. Solid black. There we go. Yeah, maybe change this font to something besides A.B. Berkeley, A or Berkeley, maybe Destine, that's good. Alright, let's position over here. And I'll be sure to place my title in somewhere. So title 1, I'll just put it over here on top, everything. So now. Alright, very cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and File, Export, Media. And most of us will need to press Q. Now I've already got my format set up to be in MP4. I'll change it to medium bitrate. I'll make sure I'm saving it as something other than 0009. I'll save it as like a green screen Mr. Labello. And I'll press Q, and I'll wait for my media encoder to come up, which it'll come up in just a second. And as soon as it's ready, I'll press this little play button, and it will begin to export. And as soon as it's done exporting, we can view our image, and we can click on this little name and drop it off in D2L. All right, very good.